Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela. I make sewing and DIY videos, and in this video I'm going to be changing the zipper on a jacket. I want to start by saying that not every broken zipper situation requires replacement of the whole zipper. I have another video where I explain how and when you can fix a zipper by changing the zipper pull, and I'll link to it below. But if you are dealing with missing teeth, spoiled coil or damaged pin, like the one I have here, you will need to replace the zipper. Before I start with this repair, I want to say that I know zippers are intimidating for beginners. They most certainly were for me, but as with everything else, if you follow certain steps, you are going to get nice results. The worst that can happen is to rip a seam a couple of times until you get everything right, so why don't you give it a try? To begin, you are going to need the zipper foot and a suitable zipper. I usually go for a zipper that is the same as the original one. For example, here I have a nylon coil, and that's what I'm going to use as well. Aim to use a zipper that is the same length as the original. Very often though, you might not be able to get the right length in the right color. That's my case here. The closest match I found is a zipper in a different shade of purple and also significantly longer. That happens much more often lately as suppliers don't get the goods delivered as fast as before the pandemic. It is what it is. I'm going to use this one and hope that it will be less unpleasant for the eye once the zipper is sewn and only the coil is showing. If you also haven't found the right length, I'm going to be showing how to shorten the zipper later in this video. To begin, I need to remove the broken zipper completely. I'm being careful here because the fabric gets worn off over time and I don't want to tear it. I start anywhere, just not close to the ends because the seams are backstitched secured there and it's hard enough to break through all these seams. There usually are at least 3, sometimes more seams that hold in the zipper. That includes top stitching, joining seams, under or over flap seams, if there are any. In my case, there is piping that goes over the zipper, and that's one more seam I need to break. Here is the piping tape. I'm going to keep it as I'm going to attach it again on the new zipper. There might be different design elements on different jackets. For example, here they've used piping, but there might be an under zipper or over zipper flap. Pay attention to how the jacket you are working on is made while breaking the seams and try to keep it the same way, following the same sequence. Once I'm done ripping, I make sure to carefully remove all old threads. If your zipper is the right size, that's great. If it's just a bit longer, I would tuck it in the jacket. If it's coil, because I usually don't have problems sewing over the coil, although I would go slower. If it's molded or metal teeth zipper, I would shorten it. I have videos on these types of zippers and on how to shorten a metal zipper, which you'll find in the description if you need to investigate this further. In my case, the zipper is very long, so I'm going to cut it short. I'm using the piping tape to measure how long I need the zipper. The best way is to measure the actual zipper you are replacing. I know that the piping tape is the same size, so I'm pinning it to the zipper starting at the bottom and aligning the zipper tape with the edge of the piping tape. And I'm going to cut straight through the coil. I pinned the tape to the zipper because I want to sew them together. I'm going to show you how I actually do it first, and then I'm going to go over the steps one by one. You can pick the way you prefer to do it depending on your skill level and the way that the jacket is sewn. To save time, I'm going to pin the front, the piping and the zipper together and join them with one seam. I align the center front, the edge of the piping tape and the edge of the zipper tape carefully, and I'm going all the way up. The zipper and piping should be a bit longer than the front to serve as seam allowance. If you have the right size zipper, the coil should end up at the top of the front and the seam allowance is the free end of the zipper tape. I'm checking the front because I'm going to sew very close to the piping and coil with the zipper foot and I don't want my seam to go over. Sew the zipper to the front with the zipper foot. This way the seam goes as close to the coil as possible and less zipper tape is showing. Make sure to move the zipper pull out of the way because it would not let you sew close to the coil or teeth depending on your zipper choice. When you get to it, lift the foot with the needle down and push the zipper pull away so that you can continue with the rest of this side. All seems nice and in place, so I'm going for the other side. This time I'm going to sew the piping to the zipper first because it would be easier to attach to the front and there would be less layers to mind. Sewing the second front is a bit trickier because you need to watch for decorative or quilting seams like the ones I have here. It most certainly doesn't look very pretty when those seams are off, so let's make sure to match them. I'm zipping up and marking the position of the seams on the other side of the zipper. I open the zipper and pin the second half of it to the other front, aligning the marks with the seams. I'm gonna zip it up one more time to check if I like how the quilting seams match, and then I'm gonna sew the other side. The next step here is to attach the lining. I'm going to show you how I do it in most of the cases, of course when it's appropriate. I pin the lining to the rest of the front with the seam allowance tucked in. I put the pins on the face side because that's where I make the seam. And I join everything together with one top stitching seam. But in this case, the original top stitching has left some small holes that are visible and I want to repeat it exactly, which is too far from the zipper and the lining won't look very good. That's why I'm going to sew it from the inside out. To do so, I'm going to pull out the sleeve and find the top stitching seam. This seam closes the hole through which the last seams were made on the inside so that the jacket looks pretty both on the face and the lining side. You can find it on almost any jacket. Of course, there are exceptions like on a jacket that I'm going to show in my next video. If you can't find such seam on any of the sleeves, just open a hole along the seam with the seam ripper. Once I remove the stitching, I go and pull the whole front through the sleeve. The face sides are together, the zipper is sandwiched in between, so I'm pinning the lining to the rest of the front. And then I'm sewing them together using the zipper foot and sewing close to the coil. I'm going to flip the jacket through the hole once again and check the front. I'm pretty happy with the result, and sometimes I might leave it like this. This time though, I have to restore the top stitching, so I'm going to go and do that following the original line. And here is my jacket. I zip it up again to see if everything is okay, then go ahead and close the hole in the sleeve by top stitching at the edge. And basically that's how I would replace a zipper. If you follow any of my tutorials to make or fix something of your own, tag me on Instagram at Sewing for a Living to make sure I can find it and love it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!